Regular season comes to an end yesterday. In case you missed it, here's what was settled. The Lakers finished 7th. They will host Minnesota tomorrow night in a West Conference play-in game. Winner is the 7 seed. Loser goes on to a game on Friday. Warriors blew out Portland. Golden State wound up in the 6th spot. They'll take on Sacramento in the first round. Golden State won the regular season series. And the 4-5 matchup in the West will be the Clippers at the Suns. Despite being the 4 seed, the Suns are the favorites to win the West at plus 190. That series doesn't start until Sunday, so we'll have to wait a little while to see them again. Brian Windhorst and Mana McNutt are here with us. Let me get a quick thing here for those who are looking ahead to that series, Clippers, Suns. Wendy, should we expect to see Paul George playing for L.A. at all in that series?
Not at the start, definitely, Greeny. He was just given an update on Saturday with no timetable for return. And he did come to the Clippers game on Saturday, was off crutches, but was still wearing a knee brace. So the hope for the Clippers is that they could advance in these playoffs either very late in this round, which would still be 3 weeks from now, or into the next round is a better chance for Paul George to return from that sprained knee.
Yeah, let's underline the last thing Wendy just said. This series doesn't start until next Sunday. If it were to go 7 games, the 7th game would be 3 weeks from yesterday. So there's a lot of time for Paul George. That said, I just mentioned, Monica, Las Vegas thinks that Phoenix is the favorite to win the West. Do you?
Oh, God, Grady, this is a year where nobody has really wanted to separate themselves truly. As I look at it right now, it's tough not to think that the Warriors have a conceivable path. But I understand why people are leaning in on Phoenix. Here's the deal, though, for me with Phoenix. We only got to see a short glimpse of what it all looked like. And while it looked glorious in a very small sample size, can they maintain that level of efficiency in a playoff schedule, right? Where these games are going to come quick and they're practically back-to-back, although they're not night in and night out. I understand why Vegas is there. I do think I would lean Phoenix right now being the favorite, but I think the Warriors are out there.
And before this series, how about it? I mean, Kawhi has shown he can put a team on his shoulders. Can the Clippers bounce them in round 1?
I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen. Not without a healthy Paul George. It would require mercenary Toronto Raptors Kawhi Leonard to do that, and I just don't know that around him is a supporting cast that has that level of experience. You had a Kyle Lowry on that roster that had been deep in the playoffs prior.
That's right. And Wendy, quickly, the same to you as I want to get on to some other things here. But I mentioned Vegas says the Suns are the favorites in the West. Are they your favorite to win the Western Conference?
Yeah, I like the Warriors at full power, but I would say with Phoenix, the best chance you're going to have is to get to them early because their disadvantage is continuity, and the team that they're getting out of the gates is a team that's wounded. So I respect the Clippers and their depth, but I think they drew a break by the Clippers winning yesterday, which is how the Suns played it. They played to lose yesterday, so they avoided the Warriors in the first round, and that could right there, that little turn could end up deciding how the Western Conference playoffs play out.
Yeah, and again, it's worth pointing out they have a whole week here, which by their standards is an eternity of practice time and more to start, continue integrating Kevin Durant into their lineup. So all of that is set. We're looking forward to the playoffs. It should be great fun. There's something we have to clean up that happened over the weekend, and we have not yet had a chance to comment on this program because it happens Friday night, and of course, we're not on over the weekends. Luka Doncic played just 13 minutes, and the Mavericks lost to the Bulls on Friday, a game the Mavericks made basically a statement they wanted to lose. That loss eliminated them from play-in contention. The 13 minutes were not an accident. They announced ahead of time he was going to play. They were going to take him out. That was going to be it. They made it clear they were losing that game on purpose. There were reasons for that. Wendy, for those who don't know, just sort of as quickly and simply as you can, explain why it was so beneficial to Dallas to lose that game on Friday night.
Yeah, from a strategy standpoint, the Mavericks believe it was more important to them to keep their draft pick than to compete in the playoffs. So had they lost to the Bulls, they were at a much better chance of finishing 10th and therefore having an 82% chance of keeping their pick. And if they had beaten the Bulls, there was a much better chance they would be 11th in terms of the draft order, and they would only have a 14% chance of keeping their pick because of a previous trade that sends their draft pick to the New York Knicks if it doesn't fall inside the top 10. There's 3 problems, though, Greeny. 1, Luka Doncic said last week he didn't want to give up. 2, they were thumbing their nose at the league's play-in tournament with 2 superstar players. And 3, Jason Kidd basically announced that they were tanking before the game. And in the NBA, you're allowed to tank. You're just not allowed to say you're tanking. And they are now under investigation for violating the spirit of the rules. And they could face a 7-figure fine and potentially the loss of a draft pick. I don't think it'll come to that, but I have to acknowledge that possibility exists as the NBA conducts their review.
An extraordinary apt punishment would be to take that pick they were tanking, openly tanking in order to keep, and give it away. Take the top 10 protection away from it or whatever they want because of what they did here, completely tinkering with the integrity of the sport itself. And again, I commend the league for looking into this. They're aggravated. I saw you immediately go head in hands. Most people have had a couple of days to react to this. What do you feel about it?
It's a hot mess, right? Like, I think, and I'm surprised you came down hard just now in your reaction. I don't think that it should come to the worst case scenario in terms of punishment, but just shut your mouths. Just stop talking and go about your business in a quiet fashion. I mean, that's what it comes down to for me in this way. It's so funny, though. I was with the photographer over the weekend at the Women's Final Four, and he kept saying, we got to tank, we got to tank, we got to tank. I was like, no. And then here they are. So from a business standpoint, I know we're all sort of exasperated, but it makes sense. An 82% chance versus a 14% chance. Just shut your mouth and do whatever you're going to do.
See, I have such a problem with that.
I know you do, but
because it's one thing if either way they weren't going to make the playoffs. If losing the game just meant finishing 10th versus 11th, but there was nothing else whatsoever at stake, I would feel one way. Winning out, they could make it into the play-in.
And do what?
And try to win games and championships, which is what they're supposed to be there in the first place for.
Greeny, the writing is on the wall. It's been on the wall since that trade. I hear you. Yes, the ratings would be fantastic. We love watching Luka and Kyrie. We love talking about it. But no, they're not going nowhere. What are we doing? Just be quiet. They're not going nowhere.
So every time I sit here and I say, well, we know they're not going anywhere, but they have to believe they're going somewhere, you're telling me, no, they know. We're not going anywhere. We're not good enough to do anything, so we're just not even going to try.
Yeah.
So that's where we are now. Okay, I get it. I hear you. I understand the logic behind it, but, D. Wood, I don't even know that the chair is going to make it. D. Wood, what is your reaction to this?
Let Marcus talk first. I'm not ready yet.
Swagoo, what? I mean, what?
I'm with Monica. First of all, last week, shut up, man. Don't say you all in and you're going to try to get this thing done. And then you sit Kyrie and you play Luka the limited minutes along with some other starters in that game. But also, like, here's the thing, all right? And we got Monica, I'm with you because we put in the world don't know this. And yes, it's frustrating because we all high level competitors and we want to play and we want to go with this notion that every team has the only agenda to win a championship. That is not true once you get to certain points in the season. I hate to break that news to the American public in these sports that I love, and y'all know how much I love the NBA. But when you don't play Kyrie and Luka, you tank it with the opportunity to try to go win a playoff game or get into the play-in.
Right,
that is exactly what it is.
Right.
Right, so listen, but the point is, G, is that everybody acts so flabbergasted. That they, oh my God, I can't believe they doing this. I mean, the integrity of the game, like you just said. No. This been happening. They just
hold on.
And the reaction is.
I got to stop you, and I got to ask you a question, Marcus. They have added a 7th playoff team in each conference in the NFL, right? There are now an extra wild card. That 7th team has no chance of winning the Super Bowl, right? I mean, literally none. If the last week of the regular season, you're an NFL player, and if you guys win, you have a chance to get that playoff spot and be the 7th wild card in the NFC, and your front office comes forward and says, hey, big fella, we're not playing you Sunday. We're sitting you down. We're more worried about the draft pick and making sure we get a good pick this year than you getting a chance to go play in the playoffs. You're okay with that?
I'm not okay with that as a player,
well,
G, but what can I do?
Hold on.
But what can you do?
What?
Go ahead, Ma.
Monica,
go. That's a good point, Swagoo. But also, if you're talking about an organization, to stick with your football example, that has not been to the playoffs, that's one conversation. The Mavericks were in the conference finals a season ago or 2 seasons ago. So this is not a team that has been in despair and has not had success. They need to get help around Luka. Hey, big fella, the best way to get help around you is if we hold on to this draft pick. I need you to just ride it out the rest of the way.
And also, Also,
Yeah, go ahead, Marcus.
okay.
Go quick.
Ahead. Go ahead.
No, I haven't gotten
Also,
Damian Wood again here yet.
When your head coach reiterates in interviews that this was a decision made from the top, that's why I return your question with, what can you do? If Jason Kidd would have put Kyrie and Luka out there and played all of the minutes,